Welcome to Coach's Corner, everyone. Thanks for watching the show. I'm your host, Coach Paul Tripoli. Got a special guest, one of my favorite people at the University of Alabama, All-American strong safety, Tommy Wilcox. Tommy, thanks for coming on, brother.
Oh, you're welcome, Paul. Anytime.
Man, gosh, we'll talk of football in a little bit, but is it gun season? Is it deer season in Alabama today?
It,
Open?
it's bow season. Gun season doesn't start to November 21st, I think.
Oh, does it? Have you been
Usually
bow
the
hunting?
weekend before Thanksgiving is usually when it starts every year.
Do you do a little bow hunting?
I used to, but the older I get,
Father Time is undefeated, my brother.
yeah, I kind of leave it to these young guys.
Tommy
I don't,
Wilcox. Tommy Wilcox Outdoors. Is it? What have you been? 20 years now
this
doing
is
your
yeah,
show?
this is the 20th year, so it's been a pretty good while. God's blessed me, man. You get to do something you enjoy doing.
Man, how lucky are we to have great sponsors that are able to do that for us? Huh?
I know, man. But,
What a blessing! All right, you were born in Louisiana. Went to Alfred Bonneville High School. Played quarterback. I can't remember. Did you play DB too, or did you just play
I
quarterback there?
well, I started uh, at strong safety as a freshman at Bonneville High School, and we had a senior quarterback. So I got some playing time, but I didn't start on offense. I was just a starter on defense, and then
Mhm.
when I became a sophomore, junior, and senior, I stayed quarterback the whole time unless we got into a tight game and they needed me on defense. Then they'd put me back in at strong safety. Had to get a little rest every now and then.
I got you beat, man. O'Leary never took me off the field in high school.
Oh man,
Oh,
we had a wide receiver named Doug Waddell. He did the same thing. He never came off the field. He played cornerback and wide receiver. So can you believe that? I mean, that's a lot of running, man.
That's a few miles of sprints it was
Yeah.
doing. Oh my gosh. All right, take it back real quick. 1977 New Orleans high school quarterbacks, three great ones. You, John Forcade, Bobby Abear. Um, I know you've told it on the show back in April, May, June when I had you, but man, just go through the because both the one-on-one meetings that you and I had with Coach Bryant were transformational, man. I got a lot of response when you actually inspired me to tell my one-on-one story with Coach Bryant. But remind us of this because I'll take you back to when Coach Bryant was younger, and he thought about quitting as well. All of us did.
Wow. Yeah.
Talk about that meeting that he flew to Louisiana for you, Tom.
Well, it was after my I was redshirted as a freshman, as
Yeah.
was everybody on the team except for maybe three or four people. And so that whole year, I ran the scout team against that 77, 78 defense, which was child abuse. You know, I don't know how many NFL stars were on that defense, but there was a bunch of them. And so anyway, I went home that summer after the season, and I was beat up, and wasn't guaranteed anything at Alabama, and wasn't going to come back. I just was
Yeah.
home, didn't want to leave home, and
Right.
wasn't really mature enough yet. And when you're a big fish in a small pond, and then you go to Alabama, and everybody's good,
Yep.
you're just a little fish, man.
Right.
And I just got beat up for a year, and just it wasn't fun. Football wasn't fun, and so I called. I didn't show back up for practice, and Coach Marks called, and Coach Bryant called, and I just told him I wasn't coming back. And then Coach Bryant called me back and said, "Hey, you got a car?" I said, "No, sir." I said, "But I can borrow my mother, who became my mother-in-law, her car." And he said, "Meet me at the Holiday Inn right there by the New Orleans International Airport in about 3 hours." And so I did. And we went to a room, and you know how those hotel rooms are. They have a little bitty table with two chairs, Well, he got both chairs and put them facing one another, and he told me to sit down. And then he sat down. Now he was so big, my legs were inside his legs. And then he told me, everything that what's wrong.
Yeah.
I've been doing this so long that there's
Right.
nothing I haven't seen before.
Right.
And we just got into talking, and he was telling me about how he thought if I'd come back that I could play, and he thought that if I come back that I had the right stuff and was made of the right stuff, and that uh, that I couldn't play offense though because I'd missed already a few days, and you have to learn all the audibles and all that kind of stuff. And we had Stedman that came back was coming back. He was a senior. So he said, but I think you can, play on defense. And he said, I think you can start on defense if you'll come back and do what you're supposed to do. And he'd always throw some little gems out there like, I think you made it the right stuff. I think but it's up to you now. You got to want it, and blah, blah, blah. And then we got to talking, and, he had asked me what my goals were earlier. So I had told him that, I wanted to be all conference and all American, and wanted to play on the national championship team and stuff like that. And then as we were talking in that, he says, I think you're good enough to be an all conference player. I think you've got the right stuff to be an all American. And if you come back, I think that's something you can achieve if you really want it. And if you come back, and if you do this, and he said, I'm not going to promise you anything. You got to earn it, And so anyway, to make a long story short, I wound up coming back, and I wasn't back, Paul, that first. I had missed about a week of two-a-days. So when I came back, I thought I was just going to go, start on defense, play on defense. Well, he put me on the scout team offense. Then I went back on scout team defense. And then, we were still in two-a-days. So it was back and forth, me against the first team on
Offense,
defense,
yeah,
and all this. And I got to thinking to myself, I said, this ain't what we talked about in the hotel.
Man, he was. Tommy,
and then I had to run after practice. All kind of stuff that I had to go through. But after about a week of just hell for 7 days, not knowing what's going to happen, he finally called me in his office, and he told me that I had passed his test, and that he said, there's a senior in front of you who was Bobby Smith. And he says, after the first quarter, he said, our first game is Georgia Tech. He said, if you go out on defense and you give it all at practice like you've been doing these last 7 days, he says, I got to start Bobby Smith because he's a senior. But he said, in the second quarter of the first game, I'm going to put you in the game. And it's going to be up to you to win the battle.
Oh my!
To win that chance to be a starter,
right?
And I started on the kickoff team, but I had like 2 or 3 tackles on the kicking team, and then I had a real good game, no mental mistakes, a bunch of tackles, a couple passes knocked down, and man, he started me from then on.
Holy
cow. So it was needless to say that was a long week, but it sure made a difference. And I tell you what he did. That next game was Baylor in Birmingham, and he called me in his office. It's the second game of the season. He goes, well, I just want you to handle this properly. He says, you're gonna start on defense, and he says, I'm gonna make you a captain next week of special teams because you made a bunch of tackles on the kickoff team. And he said, now there's gonna be reporters that want to know you're just a freshman and you're already a captain. Just show your class and handle that right.
Wow.
And then from then on, man, it was
It was a
sales.
prophecy. His prophecy come true, man.
Yeah.
A two-time All-American, a national champion. He would test you. He
Yeah.
did the same thing to me at the first game of the year at Georgia Tech. He put me in the exact same way he put you in, and he would test you.
Yeah.
I don't know if he could find the right stuff in people or make the right stuff in people.
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, when I look back, I think he knew we had it in us.
Right.
He just wanted to bring it out of us, you know.
Yes.
Because you hear so many great players, you can go back and John Hannes won, Bob Bumhauer, a lot of those guys, they went through the same thing. They were going to quit, and this and that, and look where they got, man. Because, he just
let me tell you where it started, Tommy. Did you know Coach Bryant was rough around the edges, as my mother would say? He was a kid that got in fights and he didn't have good grades. He was a little bit rebellious. He was bordering on, delinquency. And much like me as a teenager. And his friend from high school actually said Paul would be lucky to stay out of the penitentiary. But I tell you what, his high school coach at Fortis High School, Robert A. Cowan, had the biggest influence on him, and was a father figure for him. And and then it just went on from there. When he went to Alabama, he wanted to quit. His dad passed away, and his cousin said, "Oh, just go ahead and quit like everybody else thought you would." That's the same thing that I heard when I wanted to quit. Yeah. Same thing. And he's coming back, and it's amazing that Coach learned from Frank Thomas, right? His coach at Bama, who was Newt Rockney's mentor.
Oh, man.
Newt Rockney mentored Frank Thomas. So a lot of people don't understand the Notre Dame connection to Alabama, but it's pretty thick and it's pretty deep.
Wow.
Yeah. So, he was, this is a matter of fact, this is what he said about in his book, The Last Coach by Alan Barra, which is a great book, Tommy. You got to pick it up. This is a quote, and he says, throughout his coaching years, Coach Bryant would repeat Cowan's words. At best, he could remember them to his own players. Quote, "You're something special, and don't you ever forget that. If you're willing to work hard and sacrifice, you can achieve anything. The costs of victory are high, but so are the rewards." In the 1960 book, Building a Championship Football Team, which Coach Stallings wrote 95% of, he was the first man mentioned, and his dedication was his high school coach.
Wow.
Yeah. So do you remember him saying that? I remember him saying that all the time when I was trying to be mature to figure it out.
I remember him saying all the time how special we were.
Yeah.
That you're special. So, you can't act like just another student. You can't be just like another student. You're special. And because
you got to carry yourself with respect.
You got to carry yourself, and I'm going to ask more of you because you are special. Stuff like that. I remember all the time, not knowing that he really got a lot of that from his coaches.
Absolutely. He passed it on to his players who became coaches and passed it on to their players. I passed all that stuff on to my players.
Yeah.
When we're behind, go in and say, we got him right where we want him.
Yeah, right where we want him.
If we're
Kenny Stabler.
They're all fired up.
Yeah, Kenny Stabler.
Way down.
I remember Kenny Stabler saying that one time. He said, I think they were at Tennessee and they were away from home. And it was raining. And it was the fourth quarter and we behind. And Coach Bryant saying, we got him right where we want him.
Yep.
And Kenny said he was thinking, we do. We're away from home. It's raining. I can't throw the ball. How do we have them right where we want them,
How do we get the advantage?
Yeah. But it's crazy, man.
Right.
But, that's what I've always said. High school coaches are special because, other than your daddy, that they're the next male figure in your life who keeps you on the right road and pushes you and, picks you up when you're down and kicks you in the butt when you're loafing, and
or when you screw up.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the notebook of Coach Bryant's that you possess. This is a fascinating subject to me, Tommy, because Coach Bryant would come in every single day in the team meeting and have a little note or a newspaper article or maxim or quote or some story, a letter. Somebody sent him a letter. He would read a lot of letters. What is this book? What's it called, and what's in it?
All right, this book is called Bits and Pieces, and I looked around, and I think you can still buy this little subscription because I've had so many people ask me about it.
Right.
But that's a picture of it, what it looks like. It's called Bits and
Great.
Pieces.
Okay.
And it's a little motivational booklet. So that's what they what
Is
it
that
goes
the one
by.
he used? Did he take notes in there, and
Look
did he
at
highlight stuff? Or?
You see his name on there?
Oh yeah.
And I was walking to a meeting one day, and his door was open, and he called me in there. And I don't know, we were talking about something. And I asked him if that was the book that he got his stuff from and what it was about. And he said it was just a little motivational magazine. And he said, "Do you want it?" And I was like, "I'd like to read it. I don't." And he goes, No, you take it." And he handed it to me. And I really never thought anything of it. I had it put away, and
wow.
But the date is October 1982 was the
wow.
thing on this thing. So that had to have been Paul.
Yeah.
I don't know who we played back in October.
Oh my gosh.
Of 82, but
it was just 2 months before he called us in on December 14th, my birthday. He called us in on my birthday on that night. So I think it's down in the records and the papers. It's December 15th, but he told us the night before in the meeting. Remember?
Yeah, I do.
So, what? All right. So, do you have like some favorites in there, or what?
What he did was he went through this and he put a little star by the ones he liked and the ones he didn't like.
Oh,
and
cool.
So I got let me read a couple of them. I think you've heard me talk about this one before, but it said, some people are so busy learning the tricks of the trade, they never learn the trade.
Mm.
And, and we get so busy, trying to find the easy way to do it or
trick somebody. And instead of all hard work.
You think you're fooling people by going in the weight room. You're supposed to do 10 reps and you're only doing 8 reps. And, and then before you low it, you cheated yourself. And so that was one of them.
I also think, he's talking about, the trade of the game, the fundamentals, people, right. Even to this day, Tommy, I think that's still a breakdown in the basic football that's being played today, high school, college, or pro.
That's
fundamentals.
Right. And I think you're right. I think he meant when he said that, I think he was meaning more that, that it's not the game hadn't changed. It's just people have changed.
Right.
And winning, it all goes back to fundamentals. And it's not the offense you run. It's not the defense you run. It's who blocks and tackles the best. And
All right. What's the next one you got on there?
All right. Let's see. The next one is this was probably for him because he put a thing by. I write down everything I want to remember. That way, instead of spending a lot of time trying to remember what it is I wrote down, I spend the time looking for the paper I wrote it down on.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, I think the older you get, you can relate to that. Now this book's got all kind of stories in it, and here's a great one. When Don Zimmer, he put a mark by this. Said when Don Zimmer was San Diego Padre manager, he watched a rookie talking to his boyhood idol, Maury Wills. Commented Zimmer, "That's what's wrong with the world today. The rookie is asking Wills for advice, but he's doing 90% of the talking. So he's not listening at all. He's just He's just talking the whole time. So I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, talking about himself, right? Not really
Yeah.
listening to the wise
And not
advice.
listening
A lot of people hear advice, only the wise profit from it.
That's why they say God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, right?
That's right.
So you listen more than you talk.
Coach
Here's
Bryant.
another one he had marked down. It said, "You will never bypass your predecessor by following in his footsteps." So you'll never bypass your predecessor by following in his footsteps.
Yeah. Well,
and I used to tell us all the time, tell us things about life. He also had one marked. It never occurs to teenagers that someday they will know as little as their parents.
Coach Bryant was brilliant. No wonder he was a master psychologist.
Yeah,
he was a deep thinker.
And then the last one in this book, the great dividing line between success and failure can be expressed in 5 words. I did not have time.
Oh, I like that one.
So
I like that one. Yeah, you got to make the time, right? Can't be finding the time or looking for the time or hoping to get time. You got to make it. Dr. McCullough reminded me of that.
So, but I think it goes back to, and I'm sure Jim Bunch, Vince Cowell, all these guys you talk to. I'm trying to name some of those other, Dwight Stevenson.
Oh yeah, Ozzie Newsome,
Vince Booth. If you talk to all those guys, Coach Bryant had a way of talking and making you believe in something, and then demanded you to give it your all and your best. And of course, he had a lot of years of success that he could always throw at us. If you do this and you do that, and you do this, and you'll be a champion.
Right. And we respected that because he was the best at the time.
And we knew that we knew he wasn't just like when he'd say, "I think you're a pretty good football team." Well, you believed you were a pretty good football team, because he's had other great football teams, So you wanted to listen to him.
I tell you what, when he was at Vanderbilt, when he first started coaching as an assistant coach at Vanderbilt, he was on the he recruited like a wild man because, Frank Thomas told him it was 90% talent and 10%, the rest. But Coach Bryant didn't really. Coach Bryant, you know how Coach Bryant is. He didn't really necessarily agree with those percentages, but he busted his butt, to go out and get players. I mean, I remember him going up and when he was at Kentucky and got Babe Pirelli up in Pennsylvania, almost just like 25 years later, Howard Schnellenberger did to Joe Namath. Talk the mother into was wonderful about Alabama, and then packing him up and getting his suitcase and going that night. He actually took Babe Pirelli. Him and Kearney Leslie actually went to Babe Pirelli's house, talked his mother into it, and then they went to Forbes Field in a limousine and watched the Pirates play, and then drove to Tuscaloosa.
Wow.
Yeah, all in like 24 hours or something.
Golly.
That's hustle. That's hustle. There.
Yeah.
He expected everybody to recruit that way.
Right.
And, he didn't. They actually beat Alabama 7-0. Had an 8-2 record in 1941. But he was something else. Well, Tommy, thanks so much, man, for sharing the book and your story.
He was special, man, and we are so blessed to have had the opportunity to play for him, and all these people that you get on there that has played for him. I don't care if you're an offensive lineman or a great NFL player later on. I mean, he treated us all the same. Well, not the same, but he all treated us fairly. And he made you believe in him, and you'd run through the wall for him,
Absolutely. He was one of a kind. So get that book, Tommy. It's really good. Where can people, it's called The Last Coach by Alan Barra, Barra. I've read like 12, 13 books on Coach Bryant, Tommy, but this one's the most comprehensive from the beginning when he was born till his death. Where can people watch Tommy Wilcox Outdoors?
They can just go on YouTube and put in Tommy Wilcox Outdoors, and all my shows will pop up. You can just pick whatever show you want to watch. You can do it there.
What you got coming up?
We got some stuff from Wisconsin, some deer hunts we got coming up. We've got a bunch of fishing from Louisiana, redfish, speckled trout. We got some quail hunts we just got done. So we've got a lot of good things coming up. I think people enjoy. So whatever you like to do as far as the outdoors, fishing, hunting, pick out the show you like, and please, if you go on there, just like it or subscribe to it. And then that way it'll let you know every week when we got a new show come out. It'll automatically forward it right to you.
They search Tommy Wilcox Outdoors on YouTube to get your channel?
Yeah, and then click on any show, and then when you get to that show, just hit that little red button that says subscribe. And then if you do that every week that we put a new show out, it'll let you know we got a new show coming out.
Awesome, man. Great job, Tommy. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Thank you for your mentorship and showing me how to play the strong safety position, man. I'm forever grateful. Have fun hunting and fishing. Keep in touch.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, buddy. See you later. Tommy Wilcox. Wow. What a mentor. What a guy. I was so lucky to be able to learn from him. He's a hunter and fisherman like most people from Alabama, from anywhere, really. My brothers up north, they're hunting, fishing right now, as a matter of fact. So, hope you enjoyed it. Have a great sports weekend, everybody. Stay tuned for these great messages. Without these great sponsors, this just wouldn't happen.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
Bill, some game, huh?
I haven't really noticed, Paul.
What? The biggest game of the year?
I've been looking over my insurance. Talk about problems I'm trying to figure out.
Well, do what I did. Call the Seiler Agency. They showed me what I needed and what I didn't. They even saved me money. Now, instead of worrying about my insurance, I can worry about the big game.
Contact the Seiler Agency at 476-7443 for all of your insurance needs. Your independent agent for home, auto, boat, RV, commercial, general liability, life, and sound investment strategies. Call 476-7443 today.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray, and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
Step One works so hard to get you in the perfect car. Looking for a better car buying experience? With the Step One Advantage from Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola, receive no-hassle market-based pricing or incentives by pre-ordering. Looking to sell or trade? Our dedicated team will even come to you. Plus, every vehicle sold at Step One supports local charities right in your neighborhood. Experience the Step One Advantage at Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola today.
75 years of service and high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple pane of brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on your home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Will Rentschler is your go-to agent in Pensacola, Florida for the service you deserve at the price that you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Will Rentschler has you covered. Call 850-433-4678 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Legal disclaimer, individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.